All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
This time we're going to talk about something pretty amazing.
Yeah.
We're talking about Firefly Aerospace
Okay.
and their successful moon landing.
Their first one.
Yeah. So, I think
No.
I think what's really remarkable here is that this is a private company
Yeah.
and they've landed on the moon.
This is a really big deal.
Like, that's not an
Yeah.
easy thing to do.
Not at all.
And even some government space agencies have struggled with this.
Mm-hmm.
And
they
stuck the landing.
They did. Textbook perfect landing.
Yeah, no crash landing, no tipping over,
Okay.
which we've seen with other attempts.
We had.
This was just
from both governments and private companies.
as beautiful.
Absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
To watch.
So
yeah.
This is being hailed as like a giant leap forward for commercial space exploration.
I think that's a really fair assessment.
Yeah.
For so long, we've really been thinking about
Yeah.
space exploration in terms of national programs and things like that.
Right.
But what we're seeing here is a real shift, I think, in the landscape.
Right.
And it is exciting to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost feels like science fiction is becoming
Absolutely.
reality. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about private companies landing on the moon.
Yeah, and not just landing.
Yeah.
Doing real science while they're there.
Yeah. I mean, this is like,
it's incredible.
we're talking about NASA going back to the moon.
Yeah.
After all these years.
After decades.
It's been decades since we last.
Apollo missions.
Yeah, since we last went there, and
It's a long time.
It's a long time, and now they're doing it through these partnerships
with commercial partners,
with these private companies.
Right.
And it seems to be working.
It really does. And I think that's a really big deal.
I think it's a really big deal too.
Yeah.
So the question is, why the moon again?
Yeah, why go back now?
Why now?
I think there are a couple of reasons. One is that scientists believe that the moon, particularly the lunar South Pole, holds vast reserves of water ice.
Wow.
Now think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
If we have a readily available source of water on the moon, that can be used for fuel, for life support, for future lunar bases.
Yeah.
That's a game changer.
That changes everything.
It really does.
Yeah, I mean, and then when you start thinking about, like mining operations on the moon and things of that nature, I mean.
It just opens up so many possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting.
It is. It's very exciting.
So this mission is all about kind of laying the groundwork for this kind of sustainable human presence on the moon.
Exactly. And, blueghost,
the
lander itself, is equipped to do some pretty incredible science. It's studying the composition of the lunar soil, the regolith.
Oh, okay.
And it's also looking for signs of this water ice.
So they're really doing some investigating.
It's doing some real exploration. And I think that's another thing that makes this mission so special.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting there. It's about what they're doing once they're there.
Yeah, it's like they're, sending a robotic explorer to the moon.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's like something out of a science fiction movie.
And it is part of NASA's.
It is.
It's Commercial Lunar Payload Services Program.
Right, which is...
Or CLPS?
Yeah, CLPS, exactly.
Okay.
It's this really fascinating program where NASA is basically saying, hey, private companies, we need to get our stuff to the moon. Can you help us out? And what's amazing... They are.
We could do that.
They're like, yeah, we got this. And they're proving it.
And they're proving it.
They are. And it's really revolutionizing, I think, the way we think about space exploration.
Yeah, absolutely so.
Yeah.
And blueghost.
Yeah.
Isn't just a delivery truck either?
No, it's not.
It's a full-fledged science lab.
Yeah.
On wheels.
Well, on landing legs, I guess.
On landing legs.
But yeah, you got the idea.
Yeah. I mean, it's got
a whole suite of instruments.
It's got 10 experiments.
Yeah.
That it's conducting.
Yeah, they're doing everything.
Like what kind of?
They're measuring the lunar environment. They're studying the geology. They're even carrying a laser retroreflector.
Oh, wow.
Which is really cool.
What is that?
So basically, what does that do?
It's this device that reflects laser beams back to Earth.
Oh, wow.
And by bouncing lasers off of it, scientists can precisely track the moon's wobble.
Oh, wow.
Which tells us a lot about its internal structure and composition.
So they're learning about the makeup of the moon.
Exactly.
By bouncing lasers.
By bouncing lasers off of this little device, off this little reflector.
It's on the moon.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
It's pretty wild. I mean, it's really amazing what they can do these days.
Yeah.
And this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
We have 2 more.
This is just the beginning.
Private companies.
So I did read that intuitive machines and ispace are like lining up.
They're getting ready.
For their own moon landing. For their own moon shots.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
this is...
And NASA's goal is to have 2 private lunar landings per year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
this is going to become more.
It's going to be a busy lunar highway before too long.
It's going to be really interesting to watch.
It is going to be fascinating to see how this all unfolds.
Yeah, and what I think is really fascinating about this is that NASA is embracing the idea that some of these missions might fail.
Yeah, I think that's a really healthy attitude to have.
They're okay with that.
They are.
Because they see it
as a learning experience.
as part of the process.
Yeah.
And they're right.
Yeah. I mean, you can't
innovate without taking risks.
You can't make progress without taking risks. And I mean, we've seen that throughout history.
Absolutely.
In every field.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to
be willing to fail.
Be willing to fail in order to succeed.
In order to learn and grow.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing.
And so what does this all mean? Like, what does this mean for the future?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
What does the future hold for humanity on the moon? What do you think?
I don't know.
What's your vision?
I think that...
Do you see scientific outposts?
I think we're going to...
Mining operations.
Scientific outposts.
Maybe even tourist resorts.
I think we're going to see mining.
Who knows?
I think we're going to see.
The possibilities are really endless.
Maybe even tourism.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to say.
It is hard to say. Yeah. It is hard to say.
But one thing's for sure, it's going to be interesting to watch it all unfold.
It's going to be really fascinating to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what role do you think?
Yeah, what role?
These private companies are going to play?
Do you think companies like Firefly will play?
Yeah, like Firefly.
Yeah.
In shaping this future.
Because they're clearly at the forefront of this new era of lunar exploration.
So, yeah, that's a great question for our listeners.
It is a great question.
To think about.
What do you think?
And
what kind of future do you envision
for humanity on the moon?
Humanity on the moon.
And what role will these private companies play in making that happen?
So, yeah, something to think about.
Something to ponder.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive.